JFresh Beatz from Dillon, South Carolina, rocking with Industry's Most Wanted. We up in here.
But words don't seem to come when you're just constantly just faking it. Faking it. Don't let me get out of my fear. You know I'm losing it. Losing it. I just wanna take a second. Maybe you're feeling it. Feeling it.
Hey, what's going on, man? It is your girl, TampaMystic, and we are live. Where are we at, JFresh?
Industry's Most Wanted.
Most Wanted.
The big one, not the little one.
Let's go.
Listen, I got my homie checking in today. This is like my family right here. Shout out to JFresh Beatz, SBZ Media. What is going on?
Let's do it.
Listen, you and your wife really, I just want to give you your flowers before we even start, have helped me catapult what I do to a whole nother level. And I'm so grateful for both you guys and Lil Janae as well. So thank you very much for everything.
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing to hear. You never know what knowledge that you dish out, how far it's going to go.
Yes.
It's like a seed being planted in the ground. You never know how it's going to grow. You never know how the flower is going to go. Sometimes you'll never see the reaping of the harvest. So that's good to hear.
Man, that is facts. Absolutely. You know, and just so you guys know, he and his wife, SBZ Media, are the ones that are behind the lens filming all the mic drop performances that you guys love so much.
Hey.
So come get your mic drop performance.
Come on through. Come on through.
A little shameless plug. Let's just dive in. I do want to take it back ever so slightly.
Okay.
Tell us about life in Dillon, South Carolina.
Okay, so it was kind of small because I moved at a young age back home, but I always say I'm from Dillon, South Carolina. I always love going back home to Dillon, South Carolina. Families in Dillon, South Carolina. Had somewhat of a childhood in Dillon, South Carolina, so I still rep Dillon, South Carolina to the fullest. Just love everything about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a country boy at heart, so I love the country. My wife is a city girl, so we got to do the middle ground sometimes. But I'm always country boy. I always love to go to the country, just chill out, because it's you don't necessarily have to deal with clout in the country. Like, your neighbor is probably like 10, 15 miles away from you. All you have to deal with yourself, birds, bees, whatever it is. Nobody's worried about you in your city unless you're really close with them.
Yeah.
So that's the most important part that I love about the country.
I want to live like that, like right now. I eventually want to retire like that. I want to retire in a situation where I'm not close to so many people. It's not so populated. Gives you that peace of mind.
Exactly.
But like you said, your wife is a city girl, so you guys balance each other out.
Yeah, definitely. Because there'll be days where I'm just like, you know what, let's pack up and go right back to Carolina. She's like, but wait a minute, we've got all this other stuff going on right here, and I'm not ready to go back to South Carolina, and I'm not ready to go back to North Carolina. And I'm just like, all right, fine, we'll deal with it right now. But when we retire.
Exactly. Absolutely.
When we retire.
I feel like in those working years, oftentimes we do need to be in bigger cities, faster paced, depending on what you do. And we're going to dive into that because you do a lot of different things. So with the things that you're doing, you need to be in a bigger, faster paced city, to gain that clientele. So let's dive in and talk about that. You're a music artist. You're a writer. You're a producer. You're an engineer. You're a videographer. You're a DJ. You're a photographer. You're a man of God. You're a husband. You're a father. How does work-life balance work for you? Let me ask you that first.
I was just talking to my wife about this. I feel like balance is a word that we've been taught that doesn't really match with what we have going on. I feel like there needs to be seasons, because there are some seasons where you're going to have to pick up the camera, and then there's some seasons where somebody else is going to have to pick up the camera for you. So it's just, what part do you play in that season? There right now it's a part where I play everything, but there's going to be a time where I have to focus on one thing and play that one thing to the fullest, and then that in the end might be what I'm remembered for, or might not be what I'm remembered for. But really, it's just, how can I play this part in this season, and how can I reap the benefit from it? Because sometimes we lose the sight of the goal.
Absolutely, 100%. So do you want to eventually get to the point where you can delegate a lot of what you do
Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal, to build it up to where you can get employees. People like to feel like, and especially in the black industry, we feel like we have to have 50 million jobs. I don't want 50 million jobs.
I know that's right.
I feel like, okay, yes, I have probably about 10 jobs, but I feel like those 10 jobs can produce into something to where now I'm looking over those 10 jobs instead of actually working all those 10 jobs.
Correct. And fortunately, I feel like with what you do, it all ties in together, because majority of what you do is in the entertainment industry. Let's talk about that. Out of all the hats you wear, I just ran through them, which is a lot. Which one came first for you?
Music came first. Played drums at 2 years old, and then from there, started learning notes and played keys in like 7th and 8th grade. Learned from classically trained for like 2 years, and then took off and did it by myself. Started learning how to play guitar, bass guitar, and then from there it just got into production. I was always taught that you have to learn instruments before you actually start producing, because you will appreciate the production more when you can play each part. Nowadays, I feel like the game has changed. All you have to do is just get a laptop that can run FL Studio and be able to learn shortcuts really quick.
Let's dive in on that just a little bit, because some people are going to like what we have to say and some are not, and that's cool. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I agree with you. I feel like whatever it is that you do, even if it's not music, you got to study your craft and learn the ins and outs of it. So any young up-and-coming producers out there, you would highly recommend that they learn instruments before learning how to actually produce music?
Not just instruments, more so theory. Like, learn the scales, learn your C major scale, all the way up into your B major scale. Learn all 12 scales at least. Know what is relative to the minor and what's relative to the major, so that way when you do produce, it hits a whole lot more. Yeah. Because you intentionally wanted to go to that F sharp instead of just, I don't know, it just sounded right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have too many people who are just like, I don't know, it just sounded right, so that's what I put it there for. Then people who, I intentionally did this because it invoked a feeling, and that feeling, it resonates with a frequency, and then that frequency is the reason why you feel sad or why you feel happy.
That makes perfect sense. It's like a cat purring. They say the frequency of a cat purring is like, it's like enhances those endorphins. It makes you feel good. It's the same thing with music. Certain frequencies probably bring you up. Some of them bring you down.
There are certain keys that we play that actually invoke different emotions, and we don't even know it. We're just playing whatever we play to produce just because it sounds good. Like, there's a reason why majority of the music I play is in D flat, because it really, like, D flat major invokes happiness. D flat minor invokes deepness. Not necessarily dark, but intentionally you have to feel it.
Can you give us an example of maybe two songs, one that people may recognize that would be on the D flat versus, you said D minor? Yeah,
D flat or D minor. I know a lot of them in, like, more so church. So if you say Take Me to the King, that's in C sharp minor, which is D flat minor. That resonates deeper, and so she can have certain lyrics like "Truth is I'm tired, hurt and abused. I'm trying to pray, but where are you?" Those lyrics match that emotion. But then you also have in D flat major, where it starts off in D flat major, where you're everybody. I'm sorry. There's a lot of songs that are in D flat major. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship is to our God, but it's happy. Do 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 do. And that invokes an emotion because, number one, it reminds you of a song from the past because of the chord progression, but at the same time, it feels happy. Same key, The difference is major and minor.
Sounds like that's something that artists need to learn as well then, so they know exactly what type of song that they're singing on or rapping on or whatever.
Exactly.
Because I feel like majority of these artists don't understand that music theory.
No, it's just because the beat hits. I like the beat.
Yes.
I like the beat, and nobody knows the intention.
Man, so gosh, you just like turned a light bulb on. I feel like artists could make easier a hit record if they understood the music theory behind it. That's a gem, y'all.
It really is, because there's a lot of, okay, let's take artists like what's his name? He's an Irish songwriter. I can't remember his name, but then also Shawn Mendes. These are pop artists.
Yeah.
But they play the same chords in each song to create a specific hit that they want. And the chord progression is 1-5-4. I think it's 1-5-4 or 1-4-6-5. And those are like certain chord progressions that actually are in every single song you hear. Like Don't Worry by Bobby McFerrin. There's also one by Bob Marley. These are all songs that we love and know and hear out of our hearts, but because they're played differently, same chord progressions, because they're played differently, they invoke a different emotion. Like, if I was to tell you that Fighting Temptations, My Girl, is the same chord progression as Don't Worry, Be Happy, you'd look at me like I was crazy because it was played different, but it's the same chord progression.
Wow.
There are like 983 songs with the same chord progression.
That is crazy. I never knew that. You put me on game today. So let me ask you this. If there's artists that are seeing this and they're like, it turned that light bulb on for them too, where would they start right now to learn music theory?
C major scale.
Do they but could they go to YouTube and watch videos?
YouTube University. YouTube has made it really, really easy for anybody to learn anything, to be honest. Now, there are some gatekeeping that is in the YouTube industry. Like, you can learn a little bit, but you can't learn too much. Like, when you start asking the difficult questions, that's when you actually have to buy a course. But like, if you just want to learn what all 12 keys are, you can just go on YouTube today and say, what are all 12 keys? And they will show you. Or even if you don't want to learn from a video, ChatGPT.
Right. ChatGPT has become a lot of people's best friends, you know, definitely. But yeah, that's great. Have you ever thought about maybe putting a course like that together? Because it sounds like you really understand it.
I've thought about it, but it's the world that we kind of live in. It's like you have to have your flowers first.
Right.
Before anybody wants anything from you.
Kind of like what we were talking about with Zane. It's facts, man. Like, you could be the smartest individual on the world, but if people don't know you, they're not going to buy into it. They're not going to believe it. And it sucks that because some of the people who are up here aren't nearly as knowledgeable as you. Yes, I said it. But people will buy into it because they know that name.
Right. Just because you know the name, or because there's an ad that you saw.
Right.
And the ad is like,
fancy.
Oh, I did sync the other day, and this is how much checks I got. And then they show you the picture of the check. You don't know whether it's a real check or not. And then they'd be like, I got a course. I'll show you how to get this check.
Exactly.
And then people just sign up today.
Man. They fall for the fugazi, because we all know when we're watching YouTube, we see a lot of that. I see a lot of ads that pop up during certain things I'm watching, and they're trying to sell you something. Yeah. Which is fine. You know, this is what the world is about. But do your research, do your due diligence first, because a lot of what people say is a bunch of smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
It's fugazi. Let me ask you this, and this is going to be a two-part question. Where do you typically draw inspiration from when you're writing a record, and where do you draw inspiration from when you're creating a new beat?
I feel like they come from two different places. Writing, I say, is fairly new to me, when really I've been writing since the 7th grade, but I feel like I've tapped into it more over the past 4 years. And writing comes from a place of what I feel my life has gone, if that makes sense. Like, if something happened to me and I feel like it needs to be told or I just can't get it out of my mind, that's when I write.
Yeah.
But it has to be something catchy because nobody will listen to it or actually want to feel it if it's not catchy. And so that's part of my secret formula. When it comes to beats, just depends on what I'm feeling that day. I've got it down to a science to where like if a loop or if something I play invokes the emotion that I'm trying to reach, that's when I'll create.
Got you. When you're writing a song, do you do it completely on your terms? And what I mean by that, does it linger over your head like, is other people going to like this? Does that linger over your head, or is it completely about this is what feels good for me?
It's about what feels good for me.
I love that.
When I first started making songs, it used to be about, oh, I wonder if people will like this or not. I actually got out of that. It was over the course, like I said, 2-3 years ago, I was with a group of friends and I just was creating. It was right after we did the interview for the Call On Him interview, and I just started creating, knocking out songs. It didn't matter whether they were rap songs, singing songs, country songs, folk songs. I was just making songs that felt right to me in that time, and I got a lot of response where it's just like, you're underrated. What are you doing? Why aren't you putting this stuff out here? And it wasn't necessarily so much as I made it so I can put it out for other people. It was more so therapy. I made it because it's something I had to get off my chest, and this is just something that I really wanted to do at that time.
Absolutely. Music is, we talk about it all the time. Music is definitely a form of therapy, and we have to have an outlet because we're human beings. We have emotions. We have to have an outlet to pour our emotions into.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. With social media, in my opinion, a lot of people feel like social media made it easier for you to stand out. I kind of feel the opposite, because now social media allows anybody to put their content out there. So I feel like you have to work harder to stand out.
It's oversaturated.
Yeah.
We say this a lot in the YouTube space. It's oversaturated to be a YouTuber these days than it has been ever. Simply because when it was like, let's say 2006, 2007, when YouTube was just getting up there, you had to put in a serious amount of work to actually get to the status to where you could go viral. Yes, certain people were actually getting a little bit of checks because they had 100 subscribers, but now they've set the bar to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and it's harder to get that. Like 4,000 watch hours is a lot of watch hours, and it's hard to get people to even get to that point because they have to go down the rabbit hole. But if you don't have enough content for that, they can't go down the rabbit hole. And I feel like that's how music has become as far as the social media space. Yeah, we'll listen to that one song, but I can't get you to come to my album.
Right.
I can't get you to come to my album because you're not going to listen to my entire album. You're going to listen to the song that you heard on TikTok.
That's right.
Which is that one song. Now, if I make a TikTok album full of songs that are all on TikTok, of course you'll listen to them then, but only the certain sections that happen to be on TikTok.
Absolutely, because there are parts of songs that go viral, but people don't know the entire song. Like there was a Soulja Boy song that went viral, and I only knew that one little part. I had never heard the rest of the song anywhere. And that happens with a lot of songs. People aren't taking the time to appreciate the entire record.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And then, like you said, with YouTube, like if you're someone who puts out a lot of short form content, how long is it going to take you to get 4,000 watch hours? Forever.
It takes a minute. That's why they had to make a stipulation of the 4,000 watch hours or 90 million views of shorts.
They had to switch it up.
Because there are a certain amount of people who will only watch shorts and will not watch your full content.
Speaking of shorts, I just want to say this. I've been kind of sleeping on that because when they first came out available, I put a couple of them out and didn't pay attention to it. And then recently I started uploading shorts again. I went back to some of my original shorts that I put out, and it shows you how many new subscribers you got. Some of them were getting like 200 new subscribers off of a one short that was maybe 30 seconds long.
Exactly.
I said, I've been sleeping on that.
Short, it's because Our attention spans.
Our attention span.
That we would rather watch a 30-second or a minute video of somebody talking about something and dropping a gem versus somebody talking about it for 2 hours.
Right. Absolutely. Because it's like what Zane and I were talking about. I have a hard time watching a movie all the way through. Unless I'm really drawn into it, I'll watch about 40 minutes, put it on pause, come back to it the next day. Because our attention spans, I think that this era has geared us to be like that. Because I wasn't like that in my younger years. I'm like, do I have ADHD? Like, what's going on? You know, like, because I feel like my attention span is very short. Yeah. That's why I don't come in here and do 8 interviews, because my attention span I'll do 2 to 3.
You'll be done. You'll be done
my
by
brain
the fourth one.
I'll be scrambled eggs in my brain.
How many more do I have of this?
Exactly. Do you remember the first person that sang or rapped on one of your beats? Let's pay homage to them.
Ooh, okay. It was actually one of my cousins.
Okay.
It was 2003.
That's a long time ago.
2003. No, I'm sorry. This was 2010.
Okay. Still a minute ago.
Yeah, 2010. I had just graduated from high school, and I had worked with John Elmore, and John Elmore, of course, had worked with Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
So because I was an intern, my mom went and told everybody that I worked with Tyler Perry. Like, that was the dude that I had worked with. And because she said that, there was one of my cousins who I didn't know, she was like a third or second cousin, came down to actually record a record with me. And we actually recorded a really good record. It was dope. I don't even know if she still has the CD. This was back on CDs. I don't even know if she still has the CD, but it wasn't the same production that I was doing. I will say that, but it was cool.
That's dope. I feel like it's always good to kind of remember that type of stuff. I wish I could remember who my very first interview was. I honestly cannot remember. I have a pretty good idea, but having those type of accolades humbles us.
Yeah.
To show us how far we've come and how much we've leveled up, which you definitely have.
Yeah, that blessed me just to go back to remember.
And then throughout your career, let's talk about some of your accolades. You know, Stellar Award-winning music producer / engineer. That's major.
Yeah.
You know, tell us about that experience.
So with the partnership with John Elmore, I actually was able to, I had joined his church and everything like that, but we both wanted to do music. So we had like a partnership deal to be up under Black Smoke Music Worldwide, which is a major gospel label under our artist, Lachey Knox. And we were able to do a lot of things. I was able to meet, like, I think after we signed, I think a month later, we were working with like big time artists that we had dreamed of working with, like James Fortune, Mally Music. We actually got to work with Ernest Pugh, Jonathan McReynolds, just everybody that was on that label we had access to. Pastor Mike Jr., just everybody that was there, we had the access to. So we could do whatever we want. We started doing podcasts. We started doing like just countless of things because we had the access to it. So that was an interesting situation, just to be able to, hey, let's make a record. Oh, wait, we're about to get signed. Oh, snap, we did it. And then like you actually do a record. We did a record with Keith Wonderboy Johnson. And Keith Wonderboy Johnson had just passed before the Stellar Awards hit. And so we ended up getting the Stellar Award for him, you know, in his memory. And rest in peace to Keith Wonderboy, beautiful soul, wonderful person. The record was called It Was You. And then, but before then, we had gotten to top 24 or top 15 on Billboard. For gospel, for a record under Lachey Knox. And then she's just got nominated for another Stellar Award. So shout out to her for that one. It's
beautiful.
So it's dope. It's all love.
Man, absolutely. That is beautiful. With you having gained these accolades on the gospel side, do you feel like coming onto the secular side that you have just as much appreciation for the things that you've done on the secular side versus the gospel side?
I feel as though music is music.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of treat it that way, because people will feed you the lies of, oh, this is secular and this is not, because music was never intended to have a different view than the other one. It's just what you're singing about or what you're rapping about that actually makes more of the difference. Like, are you calling on the name of Jesus, or are you calling on the demons? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just whatever the Lord puts on your heart to create, that's what you create. And that's how I feel music is. I feel though they're very similar, going from the gospel side and seeing the whole truth to what the gospel side has, and how sometimes it can be fake and sometimes it can be real, versus going to hearing all the stuff that you see on TV right now, where the secular side, and you're hearing about these artists and how sometimes it can be real and sometimes it can be fake. Like all of these awards, they bought them.
Absolutely.
They bought them.
I agree.
And the same thing, like, yes, we won the Stellar Award, but you have to buy it to get it.
Yes.
And we were nominated at least 2 times before we got this one. And it was because somebody bought it. Somebody it was the New Artist Award. That's what we were up to for twice. One in Tennessee and one in Atlanta. And the one in Tennessee, we were in the category for Best New Artist, along with another artist who had already been in that category at least 4 years. But because we didn't have enough money, we didn't get it.
Wow.
And then the artist that was up for it, he got it. And then he got it again the next year.
Because the payola was there.
Because you pay for it. You pay for these plaques. Wow. You pay for these Stellar Awards. You pay for being able to work with these big artists. You don't necessarily have to have the talent for it. Anybody can have the talent for it, which is why a lot of people have talent in the church and feel like they can't go anywhere because they need to make it in the secular world, which, they'll accept you if you pay for it.
Is it the same in other countries? For example, like here in the U.S., everything is about how much money do you got? How much can you pay me? Do you think in the music industry in other countries, it's that same way?
I feel like it's different. I've always said it's different. Like the love that Michael Jackson had in UK, Germany, so on and so forth, was different than the love that he had in the US.
Yeah.
Because the love over there, it didn't matter whether he had Never Never Land or not. They were going to love Michael Jackson regardless because they loved his music.
Yeah.
It transcended anything that he ever did, which is why the majority of his shows were sold out in those countries than it was in the US. And it's sad that you can be in the US and not be shown love until you go somewhere else.
Absolutely. I feel like it's that way, even breaking it all the way down to your city. Oftentimes your city will not get behind you until they see you go somewhere else and make it. Then they're like, oh, I know him or I know her.
But even still, they won't get behind you.
Exactly.
Because maybe it's envy, maybe it's something else. Like I can host I can do a concert today.
Yeah.
Right? Do a concert, have 2 artists or so on and so forth. And then the people that are opening for me, because they're probably like bigger name or something like that, those people will get sold out. But then when it comes to the headliner, which is me, it probably won't do so much because they don't know that much.
Truth be told, most people out here don't want to see another person win. There's very few people. That's why my circle is small, because I want to see the people that are close to me win. Like we have built a dynamic team. I want to see you win. You want to see me win.
Exactly.
But there's not many people outside of that, just truth be told, that are in this world that want to see you do good.
Because they want it for themselves.
They want it for themselves. People are greedy. My dad has said that for years. Greedy mankind. Like, like it's about that greed, about what can you do for me? Or I want to see you do good, but not better than me. It sucks that it's that way, but that's the way it is.
Exactly.
Let's talk about you going from being signed to independent.
Okay.
You know, that's two different ball games right there.
That was a huge decision because here you have access to it all. Here I have access to make a record, send it to this artist, and then the artist, whether they like it or not, decides whether they want to come to where you are to record or where they want to record themselves. And then we pitch it to Big Man on campus, who is the head of the label. And then after he likes it, then we go on. And that's how it was for a while. But now it's like, I felt like there was more that I needed to do for myself than to give everything away to someone else. Not to say that they didn't deserve it, like, you know, but at the same time, certain records don't have the same grace when you give it to someone else. There was a record I made like a long time ago before I got signed, and it was a record called Vacation. And I had played it for my wife, and then I also played it for my friend, and it was a really good record. And then I had a friend of mine come over and re-sing it because I felt like I wasn't a good singer. And he did all his riffs and runs, everything that I told him to do, and it sounded great to me. But it didn't have the same emotion to my wife or to my friend. And they were like, I liked it better when you did it.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense because that delivery is everything. And you can have one song, and if you deliver it two different ways, it could come off as two totally different songs, even though the lyrics are the same. So it is important actually who is delivering it. So have you made beats that you maybe sold or gave to somebody? You're like, man, I wish I would have saved that one for myself.
One.
Just one?
One beat that I gave to somebody that I was like, it was a guy who had bought a custom beat for me. That was like the biggest sale that I had that year. But big shout out to him. I don't even know if he used the beat, but he told me to make a custom beat for him that was in the style of, I think it was like Eminem mixed with NF and Lecrae all together, right? And then I was able to play it out, and it was really dope, and he really enjoyed it. And then I sat with it for like 2 more days after I gave it to him. I'm like, man, I should have kept this for myself or something like that. Or actually, there was another record. I gave it to somebody there was like a couple of records that I made that were gospel records, and I had been working with this manager who wanted all of these records. They were basically saying, hey, I want these records. Can you make these records? They were all custom, and they'd be really, really good records. But because he had already bought them, it's like I have no access to it.
Right.
And it's like some of those were like the best. Like I actually put work into it. Like I played keys. I had somebody play bass on it, and I actually had somebody play drums on it. And it actually turned into some really good like I could have give it to somebody else to actually, put good lyrics on it. And then that would be like, top Billboard if we put some money behind it.
Right.
But it's his. It's not mine. I don't have access to it. So I didn't like the factor of, I guess you could say payola. I didn't like the factor of blood, sweat, tears, wonderful music, amazing. But because somebody had already bought it, and regardless of whether they had good talent or bad talent, it's either going to go as far as that person who paid for it versus I probably could have took it further.
Right. The whole world could have heard it. Makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's got to be a little frustrating when you, like you said, put your blood, sweat, and tears and put your all into this production, and they don't really do much with it.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
Exactly.
You're also an avid gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched you and Joy on social, on like Twitch and YouTube, and I've tuned in a lot. How did that become a interest for you?
I've always been gaming.
Yeah.
I watched a TikTok today that basically said that men game for validation. And I thought that was really deep, because you can go to the job and do all you can for the job and not get validated. You can go back home and the wife asks you to do everything that she wants you to do, and it's never enough. And you can go to the kids and they always want this and always want that. But then when you go to the game, as soon as I win that level, they say, you're amazing. You've unlocked screens. I've got achievements. I'm the boss. But I can't get that out in the real world.
That is facts. That makes perfect sense. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I know that historically over the years, sometimes women, they're like, oh, you play games too long or whatever. And you're blessed that, you know, your wife gets involved with you, but there's a lot of situations that aren't. And I feel like we as women, as we get older, it's our duty to understand why men do certain things, just like it's men's duty to understand us, you know. Like what I've definitely learned in my past relationships, if a man's finances and etc. is not all the way right, they can't think straight.
No.
They can't think straight.
Like if I don't have a certain cushion of money,
yes,
like at least a month or two put away, don't ask me about anything.
It weighs on you.
I have to have that straight. So now it's almost out of desperation. And thank the Lord that since I guess it was February that I've been in a state of cushion.
That's beautiful.
Thank the Lord that I've been in a state of cushion. That way, you need this? Okay, we'll get this. Maybe we don't need it right now, but I can actually think and process and do the things that I actually need to do. On the gaming front, I actually got monetized on YouTube, and it's awesome. Actually been going pretty well. But there was something that was really deep that happened right after monetization. There was a wonderful supporter of our stream. Her name was C-Tree, and she came from Hawaii. She came when we did like The Legend of Zelda, and it was amazing and awesome. Whenever she would come into the stream, like always, constantly coming to the stream. I don't think there's a stream that she ever missed. And I think it was one day she missed a stream, and I was like, I wonder where C-Tree is. I asked the community to go ahead and text her, tell her we're on. And then I got a message that she passed.
What?
Yeah. I got a message that she passed right after my stream.
No. That's
the last thing that she saw was my stream.
Oh, gosh, that makes me emotional.
Yeah. And it really just hit me a different way. Like,
yes.
She never talked about her illness or anything like that, whether she was sick or not. But the fact that you could be doing anything else in the world.
Yes.
But you decided to sit there and watch me play a game makes this worth 10 times more
absolutely
than what I thought it was. Like, this is giving meaning to other things. And like, I know we haven't talked about the album yet, but I really would love to dedicate this album to C-Tree, because she was able to hear my music and was like, you need to put it out there. Stop messing around. Stop BSing. Just put it out and see where it goes. And then, like, I think it was that same day that I didn't hear from her. I was like, all right, it's in finalization. It's in mixing. And I sent the ad in Discord, and we went live, and I just didn't hear it.
That's difficult. So absolutely, that's a great dedication. Man, that just made me emotional right there, because you never know when it's someone's time. And she was very selfless. She didn't come onto your stream, woe is me, this is what I'm going through.
Not at all.
You brought her joy. You probably really extended her life, honestly, you know, that's what she enjoyed doing. That's beautiful right there. Wow, that is amazing. So also, before we get into talking about the album, one more thing, I just want to get a little personal. Dealing with the diagnosis of ADHD, you know, I sometimes kind of kid about that, but I really feel like that could be possible for me, because there will be times where I'll be doing something and I totally just lose it and go on to something else. And I'm like, what was I doing? Talk to us about that.
It was never one of those things to where I really wanted to take heed to it.
Yeah.
Until I think Janae had turned 3. And I was in my mode. Sometimes I get hyper focused into a situation to where I'm doing something and I don't like anybody to take me out of it because I already have tough time focusing on anything anyway. So you take me out of it, it's like, oh, say I might as well just not focus anyway. And so I was really focusing, and then she asked me for something. And then everything in me wanted to flare up. But I had to remember that she didn't mean anything. She just wants something. So instead of me going off like I normally do, like, what is it? I was like, okay, all right, maybe I need to get a handle on this.
Wow.
Because flaring up at somebody who didn't even deserve it, it doesn't call for it.
Listen, what you're saying right now is, that's what I deal with. There will be times people will ask me a simple question, and in my mind, I'm like, why don't you know the answer to that?
Yeah.
That's a dumb question. But I'm like, to them, they just don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I fully deal with that. I was telling Rocky about that when she was here. There are times when I come off a little aggressive, and I don't even mean to.
Yeah, you don't mean to. It's just sometimes, like, for the ADHD mind, like, even for my wife, who's very OCD and she's very planned, and I'm kind of spontaneous because I just do whatever I want to do at that specific time. So I might be working with this at this section, but then I'll forget why I was working with it. So then I go to another section. And it's actually one of the songs in the album called, and there's a part in there where start something, pick it up, then put it down. Start something, pick it up, then put it down. Start something, pick it up, then put it down. And then Joy comes home and she sees all these piles of things. And she's like, how can I function? But it's just like, that's just how my brain operates.
I get it, because I am the absolute same way. So how were you diagnosed? Like, what do they do to diagnose you?
I actually got the diagnosis at an early age. I got it when I was in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
But of course, my parents were like, well, you just need the belt. You don't need any medicine or anything like that. And then after the almost flare up on Janae, I started doing more research on it. I actually took a test and a test further to see if it had worsened than the actual initial diagnosis. And I'm 97%.
Wow.
97% with ADHD. And I'm actually taking therapy for it. And
Good for
it's
you.
actually helping to be able to talk this stuff through, because sometimes I don't even know how to put it in the thoughts. It's like my wife will ask me, hey, how can I help you with ADHD? And I'm just like, I don't know.
Is it genetic?
Sometimes I think it is and sometimes I don't. I think my dad has it based off of some of the stuff that he's doing now.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's always had it. He's always had like a good head on his shoulder to where he like, if that's what he set out to do, that's what he's going to do. But I mean, now I'm starting to see where he does a lot of projects.
Yeah.
And they don't always go all the way through. So then he'll make some more projects to try to fix the issues of what he had. But like that, I do see some in that. And then my mom will do the same thing. But I think it's more, I think it actually grew worse over time.
Right.
Basically, you know, social media, you're spontaneous there.
Yeah.
Also, I was in the millennial area where, you know, you didn't stay at one job for 50 years.
Right.
You got this job, and if the job wasn't treating you right, you'd get another job.
Right.
Or you do this thing, and then if somebody made you mad, you got another job. Or you were in the entrepreneurial state to where you felt like you needed to have 50 jobs, which really is a coping mechanism of ADHD. Yes. Hey, if this music ain't working right now, let me go ahead and get this video. If the video isn't working right now, let me be a graphic designer. Graphic designer isn't working right now, let me be an artist. You see what I'm saying? So you're good at everything when you're not good at one thing.
Man, that makes sense. My son was diagnosed with ADHD probably when he was about 7 or 8. And I remember the first thing the doctor wanted to do was put him on Ritalin. And I said, absolutely not. I said, what else can I do? My son enjoyed playing video games. So the doctor said, let him. Even if it's for hours, because that's going to help his attention span. It's going to keep him focused on something. And of course, I know he's home and he's safe too. My son is not so much anymore, but for many years, he was an avid gamer. And I let him do that because that helped him create an attention span rather than being in school and not focusing on what he's supposed to and focusing on 13 different things.
And that's what I'm grateful for my wife to be able to support me in. You can have your time to play video games. You can have your time to stream. Not only is it like bringing income, but at the same time, it's giving you the ability to be able to manage what you never thought you'd be able to manage before. Like, my goal whenever I play a video game is to play a video game to finish, not to play 15 different sporadic games, because that's the same thing that I'm doing in real life. Like, if I'm playing this game, I have to play it to finish. And that makes me feel like I've accomplished something. That's the checklist.
Man.
Like, you have to do checklists. Like, with ADHD mindset, you have to do a checklist to start your day or to do anything, because if you don't mark off the checklist, you'll be starting something, picking
all
it up, and then putting it down. So if I just the validation of seeing a check or a cross off makes me feel like I've done 10 times more, because I've never been able to do that yesterday.
Yes.
So I'm able to do it today.
And that makes perfect sense. But I feel like that's, like you said, you're blessed that your wife allows you to do those, and not necessarily allows you to do it, but you get what she supports that you do it. Because I feel like we all need that me time. I don't care how long my mom used to say it, before she passed, of course she loved my dad. They were married for 48 years before she passed. But she's like, I need time away from him sometimes. You got to have that time to yourself. I'm sure Joey feels the same way. It's like, you love this person, but you need that time for yourself. And whether it be editing videos or playing video games, whatever it is that brings you that joy by yourself, you have to do it. No pun intended, brings you some joy by yourself. Because his wife's name is Joy, his beautiful wife. Absolutely. I want to get into talking about this project.
Okay.
First and foremost, I told you when you first got here, but happy early birthday.
Thank you so much.
Chapter 33. Man, what does this mean to you? Like, it's always a blessing to see another day, another year, another decade, etc. What does chapter 33 mean to you?
Chapter 33 for me was overcoming things that I let slide.
Yeah.
I feel like in chapter 32 and below, it was like I just do whatever I need to do to get by. And I feel like chapter 33 is maturing to know it's okay to say no. It's okay to do things within your time. There's no rush. 30s is not old.
At all.
30 is not old.
Super young.
30 is still young, because if you really think about it, the people weren't actually getting houses and stuff like that until they were 40 and 50.
Yeah.
And we feel like if we're not getting houses and wives and babies by the time we're 20, that we're behind. And we're not. We're actually on time. We have to remember in our minds that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And I feel like this microwave society has become more sprint natured than the endurance of being able to say, okay, I'm gonna get my credit right in 2 years, and then I'm gonna work this job for 2 years to show that I have stable income, and then I'm gonna actually get this house, and that was the goal. And now that I have this goal, now I have to figure out another goal to get to. But it's ways to get to the goals, but we don't see it. Like, even for artists, okay, I'm going to work on all of my music for right now, so that way I have a stockpile of songs. I might not release them, but I still have a stockpile of songs.
Yeah.
And then after I have those stockpiles of songs, now I'm going to actually get my money right, because it takes money to actually make or break an artist. This stuff isn't free. It's not for talent. We don't do talent stuff anymore. It's all about money. So now that I'm getting my money right, and that might take me 3 or 4 years, now I'm meeting with managers because I want to protect myself. And then after I meet with managers to protect myself, then I'm going to make my release. Then I'm going to talk to interviewers. Then I feel like everybody is doing stuff backwards because they feel like, oh, I got to get this and I got to get that. And it's so sprint nature.
Yes.
And not marathon.
I agree. There's actually been artists that I've turned away from doing interviews because they've done absolutely nothing. And I'm like, what are we going to talk about? You know,
there's nothing
to talk about. Like, they literally, I'll look and they have done nothing, and I'll say, I just don't think you're quite ready for it, because I don't want to ever just take money from someone just to put a few bucks in my pocket. It's so much bigger than that, because it doesn't help them at all.
Doesn't.
Because like you said, we're in that microwave era. People feel like out the gate, they got to do this. No, there's certain steps you got to take before you do some of the big boy stuff per se. Mm-hmm. So a lot of this, what you're talking about, is what you're going to what you're pouring into this project.
Yes. There's a lot. You'll hear from the intro right out of the gate, just a couple of the things that I was dealing with 32 up under.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in one place, and then you wake up one morning and you have a wife and a kid, and you feel like you've done nothing. And it's not necessarily that you've done nothing. It's just there's certain things that comes within time.
Yes.
And so then going into dealing with ADHD, like, actually, you don't know you have a problem until you actually say it to yourself. Like, if somebody says you have an eating problem, you won't know you have an eating problem until you actually say, okay, this is bad.
Yes, absolutely right. You have to take that accountability.
You have to say it to yourself. The first part of recovery is admittance. So I have to admit to myself, oh, snap, I actually have this.
And that's difficult for a lot of people to do. Me being one of them. I feel like in past, relationships, and I'm not just talking about like intimate, I'm talking friendships or whatever, I sometimes was the toxic one, and I never wanted to admit to that. And then I look back in hindsight, I'm like, I was the problem. What can I do to fix that? But like you said, it's the first part is just admitting to it.
Yeah, just admitting to it. And then there's also just, the state of the economy. I have a song in there called Fallen.
Yes.
Where we basically, I'm just talking about, like, I'm trying to have a wonderful life. But I mean, every time I take 2 steps, I feel like I'm falling, because the state of the economy is different. So we have to walk differently. And then also, there was a song that was supposed to go on the album, but it just didn't make the cut. It was called Friend Zone. And it wasn't necessarily the friend zone that you think it is. It was more so about friendships, how you'll start off a friendship, but because of a location, if the location gets severed, you're not friends anymore.
Makes sense. Like at church, maybe you may, or like at the gym and that place closes, or whatever it may be.
And you'll be real tight. Like, you'll go over each other's houses and do a lot of things in that location.
Right.
But as soon as that location, the thing that tied you together, the thing that had drama, as soon as that location breaks, there's nothing that ties you to them anymore.
Man,
like, you don't see them anymore. And it's crazy how you can, there's a song that I have, the last song on the album called Free. It's crazy how you can be with somebody years, and because you're not with that location, they no longer exist to you anymore.
Yes. And
it's like main character syndrome, where it's like, oh, because you're not part of my story. But it's just like, and it's not, you can really go into the extent of being like, okay, did that mean something to you?
Right.
Did it really mean something to you? Or were you just being, for that moment? But like, we're too busy living in the fast moment that we forget that other people are over here living a different life. We're not supporting characters in your life.
Right.
We have lives as well. So it's like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes, life gets busy and stuff like that. But to be the person that said happy birthday to you every single year like clockwork when you were at that location, and the second you're not at location, they don't say happy birthday to you.
Man.
What does that really mean? And it's like, these people will be like, yo, we really appreciate you. We really love you. You mean all this stuff to you. And you really take that to heart.
Yeah.
And then you basically try to do whatever you can for them because you respect them, because they showed the respect to you. And as soon as that location leaves, it's like, where'd you go?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's even going back to high school.
Yeah.
There are people that I went to high school with that they were my besties.
Tight. But as soon as high school leaves,
I don't talk to them no more. We have zero conversation. I haven't talked to them in years.
I think out of my high school, I think I only have 1 to 2 people that I still talk to.
Yeah, I've got a couple I talk to every now and again, but not even like it was. It's like I'm talking every now and again. But you're right. That's so deep. I never really thought about it that way.
And it's just like there's a scripture in the Bible that says when you find your wife or your spouse that you're supposed to be with, that you leave and cleave. And I never really understood what leave and cleave meant until those locations start disappearing.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the only person that you are still with is the person that you chose.
Yes.
That's the person who's going to be with you when life is up or when life is down, because they honestly don't have anywhere to go because they're with you.
Exactly.
They chose you,
yes.
But at the same time, they're the only people that actually are going to understand what's going on, not your family, because at the end of the day, when you leave and cleave, you're supposed to leave your family as well and cleave to your wife.
Right. Your spouse is with you day in and day out.
That becomes your family.
Yes.
Nobody really talks about that. Like when you get married, your family no longer exists. Your main priority, and I'm not saying they don't exist as in like you got to cut them off. I'm saying your main priority is the family that you married. That is you, wife, children if you have them.
I couldn't agree more. And that's something like my son is married. We talk, but we don't talk every day because he's got a wife.
Because that's his main priority.
That's his main priority. And I never, ever, ever wanted to be that mother-in-law where I felt like I needed to come first, because I feel like she comes first. That's his wife.
Exactly.
Like I see people with these scenarios like, should the mother-in-law ride in the front and the wife in the back? If I go somewhere with my son and his wife, I'm sitting in the back. I'm going to let a wife sit in the front. I'm cool with that. That's his number one now.
It is.
Doesn't replace me, but that's his number one. Like you said, I agree with you on that 100%.
But it's like everybody was like, oh, well, I think in the African culture, if you marry the wife, then you marry her, and then her family comes to live with you. I mean, for certain cultures that makes sense, but I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with it. Like, I chose to marry your daughter. I didn't choose to marry you and put you up in my house to where you never have to work again. Because
really, you need a sense of privacy with your wife. And it's like, if there's I can understand if maybe one of the parents gets a lot older and they need some caretaking, a situation like that may be different. But if they're still able to do for themselves, they don't need to be that much into your life.
The second that they get married is the second that they put in their 2 weeks notice. And it's just like, hey, bro.
So listening to your album, I want to go through a little bit. I caught so many different vibes from it. Like, I made notes. I got lyrical. I got kind of an alternative vibe. I got even a sensual vibe. I got an island Afrobeats type vibe. I got so many different vibes in one project. How important was it to you to incorporate within 8 songs? Because you did it within 8 songs. You gave a little bit of something for everybody.
It was a struggle for me to depict what genre this was going to be.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, for those 3 or 4 years, I was just making whatever I felt like I needed to make, whether it be rock, whether it be country, whether it be folk. When I was in college, I actually wanted to be a folk artist more than I did a hip hop artist. And I would carry my guitar and go to like open mics and just play the guitar and sing whatever folk songs came to mind. But I felt like this needed to be alternative. Alternative basically meaning that it doesn't belong to a specific genre. And then when I actually think back, most of the music that I grew up listening to were all alternative.
Right, because I got like track number 2, Find a Way, gave me like that alternative type vibe where, like you said, it doesn't necessarily fit into any genre. I really got that type of vibe from it. But then we got Would You Still Love Me featuring, is it AIM?
AIM, yeah.
AIM, okay. That right there kind of gave me that Afrobeats island vibe. You got Bliss. That one kind of gave me like a sensual vibe. So it's like you really incorporated every single side to this project.
Yeah.
Are there going to be music videos coming for it?
Yes, we actually filmed the Find a Way music video already.
Okay.
I just have to put it together.
Okay.
I didn't know where it was gonna go. So when I made the record, we were in DC, and a friend of mine was like, "Go ahead and make the record.
Yeah.
Do the music video. You've made the record. Go ahead and music." I'm like, I don't even know where this is. Am I going to release it as a song? I don't know where this is going to go. So I listened to him. I was able to direct the whole music video. He shot it, but I was able to direct it, and I had other people come in to actually, take some pictures and stuff like that. So we actually shot the EP cover and shot the music video all in one take.
Oh wow.
And like if you look at the album cover, you actually see me in my Rugrats jacket just sitting up like this with my feet up in the air like I'm floating.
That's dope.
Because I wanted it to feel like I was falling into Chapter 33.
Chapter 33. How important to you to release it on your actual Chapter 33?
It was very important. I really wanted it to be right there on my birthday, because I think after 24, I just kind of stopped celebrating my birthday. I think for women, it's different than men, because women, they celebrate their birthday all the way up until they're 50. Like,
That's funny you say that, because around 50 is when I stopped celebrating. Like this year was the first year, not to interrupt you, that I didn't do anything.
Yep.
Like I didn't throw a celebration. Up until 50, I did that. So you nailed it on that one.
Yeah, up until 50. Once you get to 50, it's like, oh yes, the big 50, we've made it.
You're just lucky to still be alive.
And then you don't hear from them at all after 50. I think for guys, it's 16, 21, because that's legal age.
Yes.
And then we might be able to get 30. And then go to 50. 50 is probably like our big, either you're doing a midlife crisis or you bungee jumping from somewhere. Because, I think it was like Will Smith and all these other celebrities, they made 50 a big thing, to where they were jumping out of airplanes and stuff like that, or getting colonoscopies. And now that's the new thing.
That was me at 50.
Yeah, like it's just, I feel like the only way that I could celebrate is if I see a project that I've actually worked the whole year at doing and see it go somewhere.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily have to go out there, because I'm not doing it for the money. I'm actually doing this just to say that I've done it.
Yeah.
Like this is really a love for me. And I'm realizing that I'm not trying to be signed out here. I'm not trying to be independent turn major like Eric Bellinger. I'm just trying to make music and see how far I can go, because if I can reach one person, I'm fine.
It's a great project. I had the opportunity to listen to it before a lot of you guys will, from beginning to end. Not that I expected anything less, but I was very impressed. Because honestly, to hear from one song to the next, somebody may not even know it's the same artist. That's how dope you are.
Wow.
That you can really, your voice is an instrument, and you completely used it as such in this project. Man, it's a great, great, great project. And I'm glad that we were able to talk about it today.
What's your favorite on the album?
I would say, so 2 of them, the Find a Way. And I also really liked, because I made notes here, Would You Still Love Me?
Wow.
Those are my 2 top favorites right there, because I feel like they were very different from what I have heard from you before.
So Would You Still Love Me? We were actually in Alabama in an Airbnb.
Okay.
And it's something crazy about putting a whole bunch of writers and producers in the same house. So I was supposed to be in that Airbnb with only like 2 other people. And there was another Airbnb like 20 or 30 minutes away. Well, they didn't want to stay at that Airbnb because they felt like it was closer to stay at ours. So now you have like 8 people living in the same place. And so thankfully the Airbnb had enough for it. But like me and my homie James, we were actually thinking about, making use of it and actually making music.
Yeah.
And so we got to this record, and then one of my homies, AIM, came up and he was like, yo, let me put some vocals and stuff like that to it. So in the middle part, the who, that's actually AIM.
Man.
That's AIM. And he did his big one on that one.
He did. It's a great record.
He actually sounded like a violin and like a whole choir. And I was like, hey, bro, what you on? But like
that instrument, your voice.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job. And like, it's just some wonderful records that was able to take place from that album, just from being out there in the Airbnb. We were able to make like, I think it was like 10 records that day. So it was just dope. And this one really spoke because it felt like it could be on a movie, but then it also felt like it was speaking about just in general, like, of course, when I was young, everybody loves you.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get 18, like right now, Janae has a wonderful spirit and everybody loves her. But as soon as she gets 15 and 16, are they still going to love her the same as how she was when she was 4?
That is
because of there's innocence, or based off of something that she's done, are they still going to love her the same? And that's basically what I was trying to convey from this record. Like, regardless of what I do, where I go, am I still going to get the same love?
Absolutely, because it should be unconditional, but in reality, with most people, it is not. I feel like the only people, and I don't even want to say people, that we get unconditional love is from our pets.
Yeah.
They love you whether you punish them, yell at them, put them outside. You do that to a human being, their output on how they come toward you and their energy is going to be very different.
Yeah.
Man,
it's completely different.
For anybody who hears the project for the first time, what do you want them, or what do you hope that they take from it?
You're not alone. You're not alone. I really wanted this album to be more so like, I feel what you feel. You're not by yourself. You're able to still function and you're able to still make it. I wanted this to be something that people could relate to. That's why the last record on there is called Free, because at the end of the day, yes, they might have treated you bad. Yes, the economy's trash. Yes, you might have ADHD, but you can still be free to do whatever you want to do.
I love that. What a great project. Make sure you guys go stream it, download it, share it. Is it going to be available for purchase anywhere?
Yes. I'm actually putting it on a Bandcamp.
Okay.
So that way people can purchase it like just outright.
Love it.
I learned a long time ago that streaming, yes, it's good and it's convenient, but it only gives you pennies on the dollar. I'd rather give you something to where you can actually like monetarily get it. And this streaming thing is actually crossing over into the gaming world, to where people are realizing that if you don't get the physical, you don't own it.
Yes.
So like people are downloading these digital games and they're not actually getting to use it, and people can take it.
It's on a cloud somewhere.
Yeah. People can take it at any time. Like I was using PlayStation Plus, which gives you games, but then I used the extra, and then the games that I thought that were mine would end up going away from PlayStation Extra. And so then I clicked the game to play it, and now I can't play it
Man.
Because it wasn't mine to begin with.
Like the movies on the streaming platforms, we have access to it for probably a limited time.
Right.
But we don't own that.
Like on Netflix, Matilda's on right now.
Yeah.
But I promise you, in like 6 months, Matilda's going to be gone.
Gonna be gone. Absolutely. Definitely. I do want to put spotlight on one more thing, SBZ Media. You know, again, we have built such a dynamic relationship, and I'm super, super grateful for you and Joy. Tell everybody a little bit about SBZ Media and the services you offer.
SBZ Media. What did he say? Goodness gracious, I forgot it now.
Cause we need you.
Oh, because we need you. That's the new slogan.
That was witty.
That's the new slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah. SBZ Media, because we need you. No, really, it started because SBZ is part of my gaming industry, so I wanted to have a whole media front coming from the gaming world. And it wasn't just about what I could do my personal self, but just so I can actually give that to other people.
Right.
The fact to where we can make your dream a reality. So whatever you feel like your media needs are, we can make that a reality. Just come have a conversation. And I'm not trying to beat you over the head with prices, because I feel like relationships are what make more of a difference than I'm worth this price.
I agree.
Like if I have a relationship with you, of course I'm finna work with you. Yeah. But random people off of the street just feel like, oh, because he's charging $450, we can get all of this out of him. And it's not about that. I'm really trying to build a relationship, because at the end of the day, that's going to be my return business.
Yes.
But if I can't have that return business from you, then it's just not going to work.
Absolutely, because I feel like people don't understand how priceless your time is. And you put a lot of time into what you do, from having to drive to the location, to filming it, to going home and having to edit it, and to send it off. Like, I didn't realize, like, what I just recently started doing a lot more recaps. I spent 3 hours doing recaps last night. Like, I started at 7 and it was 10. I was like, I didn't realize how much time goes into those, because once you start editing them, you're like, well, let me change this. Let me try this. Let me put a different effect here. Like, you know, when you really care about it, you're not just throwing it together.
And the crazy part is you'll start doing it at 7 and then you end at 10. But then the final project is only a minute.
Exactly. If that.
Only a minute. It's only a minute. Like, I think about these gaming videos, like gameplays. Like, I've just started, instead of streaming them, I started doing like recorded gameplays. That's 30 minutes that I have to try to keep somebody's attention with my edits. So it's like sometimes I might have to redo that take and sell it. Like,
absolutely.
You know, just so I can keep the attention of somebody else to watch all the way through.
100%. Anybody that's interested in work with you on any level, whether it be on the JFresh side or the SBZ Media side, where can they follow you at?
If you just want to get in touch with my media company, go to SBZ Media LLC on all platforms. If you want to work with my gaming, just me for gaming, or you want to do a gameplay with me, SBZ Plays on all media platforms, and then JFresh Beatz for artistry and production. I feel like I'm more so getting out of the production and just working on being an artist wholeheartedly. That an artist that can produce music. I feel like once you say that you're a producer, they just feel like they can do whatever they want. So I'm an artist who can produce, but I'm generally just an artist. So for artists in music, at JFresh Beatz.
I love it.
With a Z.
With a Z, absolutely. Who do you want to give thanks to for supporting you through your journey?
First and foremost, I want to give thanks to God. Also want to give thanks to my wife, my daughter, for just being able to support and be there throughout all instances. It's funny because I haven't let Janae listen to my music until today. And some songs she was just like, is that you? Why does that have to be you? So
That's cute.
It's just interesting to get her take. But
Yeah.
I know that in the future, if it doesn't catch her attention, it's not real.
Because kids have
real.
no filter.
Right. It's not real. So, but yeah, those I definitely want to give honor to them. Also want to give honor to my homie James. Rain, hail, sleet, or snow, he's coming through. He made sure that this album got out. If I can give credit on executive producing, it would be him, because he made sure that we finalized everything. He made sure that if I needed to repeat something over, we're going to repeat that today. I've actually got a couple of songs with him too, so I'm probably going to do that on the next project, but he's real dope, dope friend. He's one of those people that I told him this, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Thank you for not being a location friend.
Look at you. You're
Thank
using
you
your
Thank you for not being a location friend. He's like, of course, I'm not that kind of person. But it's like, for you to work at a company for 10 years with the same person, not know who he is until the 9th year, and then now y'all are just like, it means something.
It does mean a lot. Absolutely. And shout out to yourself too.
Yeah, shout out to me.
Shout out to you, because
I always downplay myself.
You got to big up yourself, because I feel like that you do so much, and oftentimes we don't give ourselves enough credit or even enough grace.
Yeah.
So shout out to JFresh Beatz, SBZ Media, SBZ Plays. The project, make sure you guys go check it out.
Please, Chapter 33. That's the project. It's on all streaming platforms. Please go check it out. It's actually going to be on my bio. Comes out tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that release. It's gonna be dope.
100%. You know what my last question is, right?
All right, let's go.
Where are we at?
Industry's most wanted.
The big one.
Wanted.
What makes you the industry's most wanted?
Realism, integrity. I feel like to be on this platform is an honor. I know we because we hang out so much, I don't normally get to say this, but it's an honor to be on this platform, to hear the stories of how you started from a certain place, and to be able to get to where you are now is just a lot. And to be able to share a building with Bigger Ranking, that's an honor within itself. So for you to think of little old me and put me on this platform, it's a complete honor. I'm wholeheartedly thankful for it.
Man, I thank you. I appreciate that. You are the industry's most wanted, and I wouldn't want anybody else, and I'll say this, to do what the level of work that we do. You make me better. You make my brand better. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We out of here, y'all.
Peace.
I gotta find a better way. I've been trying to get back to the days when we were